The college football experience, week 6 DFS and Underdog fantasy picks on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Sign up with the promo code TCE SGPN to get a 50% deposit bonus up to $1,000. We're also brought to you by Rhythm. Start crushing college football and NFL with Rhythm. Get your free 7-day trial period today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's RITHMM. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm.
Hey, this is Pac-Man Jones. You're listening to SGPN. Let it ride.
Football experience week 6 DFS and Underdog fantasy picks as I feel pretty good about this upcoming week. We've got a lot of week. I think starting today we get like a trillion days of football in a row.
Oh yeah.
We're finally here. We're finally home. I think we're in for a nice week of action here. If you're wondering who the hell you're listening to, first off, youtube.com/the college experience, get on over there. But if you're wondering who you're listening to, my name is Colby Swing at Database Dan, aka Pick Dundee. That's not a pick. This is a pick.
He was raised in the land down under, where a man thinks on his feet, speaks with his fists, and lives by his wits.
When Dundee happened, he was a superstar.
I smoke and I drink and I don't have stress and I'm healthy.
Woo! We got games on Thursday. We got games on Friday. We got games on Saturday. We're going to be talking about it all. Shout out to the chat. See Virgil in there. Papa Camas.
You know who Papa Camas is, right?
Oh, I know who that is. I know that's my guy.
The one and only Alan Cooley.
Yes. And Beltray. Shout out to Beltray in the chat as well. Yeah, exciting times here. I am joined by the DFS god himself. Hopefully you checked out our ACC college basketball preview last night, as well as our college football week 6 preview and picks, where we talk about every single game on the FBS slate and even the Friday night FCS classic we got going on at Harvard Stadium. Give it up for the rooftop IPA drinking, homebrew making, tobacco road living, the free lock giving, farmer, heard the basketball league MVP. Give it up for NC Nick in the place to be.
There we go. What's going on, man?
I mean, I'm really excited about the weekday slate here.
Hell yeah.
I'm going to be out in Tempe, Arizona, too. That game's on the slate. Saturday, anyone in the Phoenix area, come on out. We'll buy you a cocktail or tailgate with us, or we're going to a casino afterwards. Oh, yeah. What is it? The Talking Stick, I think it's called. Casino.
Not the Singing Bush Casino, no.
It's a play on that's a play on the great movie Three Amigos right there. If you haven't seen that, kids, I was having a conversation with the great Noah Beanick, who had never seen Naked Gun.
Not surprised.
And I was telling him, hey, dude, let me just point you in the direction. I'm going to give you just going to show you some gold that we have in them there hills of life.
By the way, I think it's pronounced Noah Beanflick.
Shout out to Noah Beanflick. But how'd you feel about this week's slate, buddy?
I love it. I mean, the 2 games Thursday night, I think, are a lot of fun. You get the one Sunbelt game, the Conference USA game. We get 4 games on Friday, which is awesome. I mean, that's what we're talking about. From a DFS perspective, you get more opportunity, more differences from lineup to lineup. That's what we're looking for. And then and Saturday, man. Saturday's going to be another great day of football. So I'm excited. Let's go.
Yes, let's go, folks. And you are listening to the College Football Experience, part of the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. And we here at SGPN, we have reached out to a local charity, the mountainprojects.org. Folks, if you have not seen the terrible shit that is happening or that happened in Western North Carolina as a result of Hurricane Helene, it's been absolutely devastating to the people in the Appalachians there. Some of the worst stuff you could see, and we're asking our fans to do their part because look, I can't tell you how many times, NC Nick, we love our fans. They're incredible, but I just get messages all the time of great pick, Dundee. If you're ever in Wheaton, Missouri, I'm gonna buy you a beer, right? Dundee, you're the man. If you're ever in Toronto, I'm gonna buy you a beer, whatever. Like all across the United States and Canada and other places, shit, even Australia and stuff too. And I appreciate each and every one of them reaching out and saying that. And I really would like to have a beer with you, but I'll buy you the beer when I see you. How about this? How about you jump over to mountainprojects.org and you help give back? Because these people have lost their homes, their jobs, their houses. I mean, some of the most tragic shit I've seen, man. And I think this is our time. This is our time to rise up. We're not like, we like to talk shit and have fun and joke around. But right now is a serious thing we got to do. We got to help out our fellow countrymen. All right. So please, if you can, the biggest donation, there's something for you here too. The biggest donation will get a guest spot on the college football pick show. You'll be able to talk trash. You know, how many times do we hear people in the chat say, yeah, you're picked. I disagree. You know, Tennessee's better than what you think, whatever. Right. Well, this is your chance to come on our pick show and say that. You can also plug anything else you want. We're going to get you a ton of SGPN gear. All right. So all you got to do is go to mountainprojects.org and hit flood support and help out our friends, man. Help out our brothers and sisters. Please, if you can, once again, mountainprojects.org and hit flood support. Let's help some people out. All right. We are back and yeah, I mean, what a let's talk about Thursday. How do you feel about this nice Texas two-step Thursday? I know we're both on the Texas schools.
And both of the Texas schools are on the road. Well, I guess UTEP's the third Texas school, but we're on the two favorites that are traveling to Troy, Alabama, and to El Paso, Texas. You got Texas State Troy with a total of 57.5. And Sam Houston, UTEP, a total of 49.5. So you better believe it. I'm going to lean in and to the favorites here. And most of my roster is Texas State or Sam Houston players. But I do have at least one player for all four teams.
I do too, actually. I do too.
Shit. Here we go again.
That's dangerous. At the quarterback spot, he was the Sun Belt Player of the Year a year ago. James Madison transfer Jordan McLeod, who is the starting quarterback of the Texas State Bobcats. At 9K, you gotta roster him. He's by far the most prolific passer.
Play the freaking music.
Let's go. Now, I didn't have the type of money to roster some other players, so you had to go to the deep dark interwebs to find out that Cade McConnell will be starting for UTEP.
I like the play. I wasn't interested in any of Troy's quarterbacks. McConnell, so Locklear's benched. I think McConnell's the better passer, and he played pretty well against Colorado State, throwing for 225 or so. I didn't roster him. I spent up for the two big quarterbacks. For me, that's Hunter Watson on Sam Houston and Jordan McLeod for you. One more second about Jordan McLeod here. I've been getting down on these ladder bets for the weekday games, which I think are a lot of fun. And I kind of like this one on Jordan McLeod. It's only has 3 rungs. So we got a little step ladder here, but I like his rushing yardage. Over there, 16 plus rushing yards is minus 120. 25 plus rushing yards is plus 205. 40 plus rushing yards is plus 650. I want to get down on all 3 of those.
Ooh, I like that. What has he done recently rushing, though? He does run. But
he hasn't ran as much this year as last year. If you look at his game log, 17, 45, 30, and 9 rushing yards. So it's fair, but he just can break off one of them, and I think he might be able to clear 40.
I like it. I like it.
And the thing in college football, you have to worry about sacks because sacks count against your rushing yardage, unlike the NFL. But if you look at Troy, the last game, 0 sacks. The game against Memphis, 0 sacks. They have not been pressuring the quarterback much. And if McLeod goes sack free, I think he'll clear.
Yeah, and
He
he's a
could
veteran
clear 40.
quarterback too. So he's been in college football for like 10 years. So like I feel like he knows to get the ball out hot if they do come with pressure. Yeah, I like that. But I by the way, I went with Cade McConnell. I like your ladder. Cade McConnell though at 6,800. You didn't go. So who did you have a second quarterback?
Yeah, so I went Hunter Watson for Sam Houston. He's more of a running quarterback than he is throwing. He's ran for over 100 yards in 2 straight games, and that's how I'm going to attack Sam Houston. I think they're going to run all over UTEP. UTEP struggles to defend the run, and that's why I'm going to roster Watson. And also, you'll find out the next Bearcat I take, but it's going to be the running backs. I'm going to attack that game via the run.
Give it up for Hunter Watson. Makes me think of the great movie Coming to America, which, by the way, rest in peace to the great John Amos, former Colorado State Ram running back.
By the way, I knew I had this stat here. UTEP's run defense ranked 128th in the nation, giving up 223 plus yards per game on the ground.
That's not good. Which is why I rostered is it Jalen Ducker? I'm trying to think.
Just Jay
Ducker, yeah.
Jay Ducker.
Former Memphis Tiger, former Northern Illinois Husky, I believe.
Ooh, I knew Memphis, Northern Illinois also. Okay.
Yeah, I believe so. At 5K, he is my running back. It sounds like you rostered him too.
I did. He is the guy especially for 5K. The matchup is right.
Let's go.
Great call. He ran for over 1,000 yards as a freshman at NIU and then went to Memphis, now at Sam Houston.
Look, I know a thing or two about this thing called college football, all right? Now I did roster 3 running backs, so let's just talk about some of these other bell cows.
I only have 2, so we got some differences. Who's your next guy?
Well, Texas State has Ismail Maldi, who is a stud for them. He hasn't gotten the end zone as much as I would like. Just 1 touchdown on the season. That means he's due, but he's averaging 4.5 yards a rush. He's their team's leading rusher by a good amount. And what I like about him is he also, has a tendency to get out some catches out of the backfield. He's like, he almost has as many receptions as their third wideout. So, yeah, did you roster him?
I did. Yeah. So we share those 2 running backs. Those are my 2 running backs.
Wow. So you didn't go with the great Gerald Green. That is my 3rd guy at 4,700.
I did not. Gerald Green is he's on Troy, right?
He is, and he's a former East Carolina Pirate. This sandbag and son of a gun.
Well, talk about game script wise. I think Texas State and Sam Houston are going to get out to early leads. So I think Troy's going to have to pass the ball more so than run the ball. So I worry a little bit about volume.
Well, here's the angle with Gerald Green. He had been kind of the backup the first couple of weeks. 40 yards against Nevada. He did have a touchdown that game, but just 20 yards against Memphis, 7 yards against Iowa, 27 against Florida A&M. Well, last week he had over 100 yards rushing, and I'm thinking they're going to give him the ball more because of that showcasing.
To be fair, though, Damian Taylor, the other running back, got 17 carries compared to 13. You could say Green had a more effective day, but Taylor still went 17 for 71. So I don't think Green might start getting more carries, but I don't think he's necessarily going to overtake Taylor. They're probably just going to be a little bit more of an even split.
Yeah, I would just say, like, you got to look at the positives from last week's game and say, okay, maybe we should get this guy the ball more.
Fair.
That's the logic. So, yeah. So I have 3 running backs. So, and I actually toyed with the idea of taking Lincoln Pear or
the second running back for Texas State.
I toyed with that idea of doing that, just because he has a 100-yard rushing day against UTSA in their rivalry game. They throw him the rock too. So, like, I don't know. I was just thinking about that. I didn't do it.
I'd rather get down on Texas State's receivers that are in that same range, though. If you're looking at a flex spot, And I think we can actually move on to receiver now. We're done with running back.
Yeah.
I don't mind the pair play, but he is the backup. So I'm going to double stack Jordan McLeod with 2 of his receivers. And I got Jaden Williams at 5.9K, and I went Chris Dawn at 4.8K. These guys are tied for second in total receiving touchdowns, and they're second and third in targets behind the main guy, Joey Hobart. But there's also some other receivers like Cole Wilson and Bo Sparks in the mix. Kind of hard to pinpoint which guy is going to have the best day any given game. But I like having 2 of the Texas State receivers along with McLeod.
I went with 2, but went with different ones. I went with Jaden Williams and Joey Hobart.
I didn't have the money for Hobart.
So I loaded up on both of them, and so that means I only have one guy left. So
basically, me spending money on Hunter Watson more so than McConnell, that allowed you to get Hobart. So we'll see what the best approach is. Hobart is a beast.
Yeah. So give me another player because I only have one player left.
I got 2 guys left, and this is going to be, I have a receiver for both UTEP and Troy. So if the Dogs at home are down, they're going to be forced to pass the ball. And I got a wide receiver 1 for Troy, Devontae Ross for 5.4K.
Okay.
You roster him?
Nope.
Really? Well, through 5 games, he already has 530 yards receiving and 6 touchdowns. So he's on pace to be over 1,000 yards, over 10 touchdowns. He's been over 100 yards in 3 of 5 games. One game, 11 for 229 against FAMU. Granted, it's FAMU, but he's clearly the wide receiver 1 for Troy. So if they're down, they're going to have to pass the ball out.
We might have the same receiver in the next game, though. Or in the next spot, because
UTEP. Well, there's a couple different guys at UTEP.
Well, I want to go with the guy that just had 128 yards and 2 touchdowns out of Savannah, Georgia. Kenny Odom, the sophomore. I'm gonna bank on this report. Now he also had a big game. Remember, he missed the opening game of the season. He had a big game against Southern Utah, 5 for 97. But that with McConnell coming in, I think it opens up the chances for him to get the ball. So at 4,900, I went with Kenny Odom. Did you roster Kenny Odom?
I went with the other guy. I went Cam Thomas. Cam Thomas seems a little bit more dependable, where Odom is more big play. Thomas has caught between 5 and 8 catches every single game this year. So what do you want? Do you want to swing for the fences, or do you want to hit singles? I guess, if you swing for the fences, you might strike out. Tough to say what.
Are you saying that I would strike out with Odom?
You might.
His worst game is 64 yards and a touchdown.
Odom?
Yeah.
What did he do against on 2 catches though? So he's your big play threat.
Still, it's his worst game. 2 for 64 and a touchdown. Get your little single analogy out of here.
You know what it means? Odom versus Thomas.
Let's go. Let's go.
If I could bring up one more ladder too. I don't feel as great about this one, but I'm also going to do Cam Thomas in a ladder. And just because, it's Thursday night, we're watching these games, but this is like a full ladder. This is your extension ladder. This is the ladder that you can go up to your roof on. And I'll start with 50 yards, which is minus 125. And I mean, maybe even go all the way up to 100, which is plus 700. So I might tool around or, tinker around with the ladder for Cam Thomas also.
That's the ladder to get on the roof, sit back, watch the fireworks, huh?
That's right.
I like that. Okay. Folks, look, I want to tell you that, once again, we are the College Football Experience, part of the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. And, look, the Sports Gambling Podcast has the most DGen pregame shows in all the world. Saturday, every single Saturday, the College Football Experience or the college experience, because we also do it for college basketball. Our pregame show is on YouTube live every single Saturday at 11 a.m. Eastern. And for the NFL, the Propcast kicks off at 11 a.m. Eastern Sundays, followed by the Sports Gambling Podcast at noon Eastern on Sundays. Last second bets, DGen parlays, your calls. They'll take your calls and much, much more. Check it all out. And remember, as always, to let it ride. We're also brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Yes, Underdog Pick'em has one of the biggest menus for all sports: NFL, college football, CFL, MLB, MMA, WNBA, NASCAR. I mean, everything. And there's much more too. Their lobby is jam-packed with profit boosts. You can now use specials to boost on all flexed entries. So what are you doing? Sign up, and when you do, sign up with the promo code TCESGPN to claim your special pick plus first time deposit offer up to $1,000 in bonus cash. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code TCESGPN. And while we're at it, we do a segment here, if you've been following us this season, where we do an Underdog draft live. So NC Nick.
Quick shout out also to D Johnson in the chat. He's saying Javon Jackson, the UTEP running back, over 55.5 rushing yards. He's gone over that in 2 games. He hasn't gone over it in 2. I'm not looking to back the UTEP running attack there. I would go under there. What do you think?
Well, McConnell passes the ball more efficiently, so maybe that opens. But I'm saying maybe that opens up the run.
Well, Sam Houston's got a pretty good defense too, though.
I know that was the risk of taking McConnell. When I came into this, I didn't know that I wanted to. I was like, man, Sam Houston's defense. That's that's their strength.
Jackson is fresh off a game, 10 carries for only 35 yards against Colorado State. I don't feel good betting it over on that.
Yeah, I think I would lean. I agree. I think I would lean towards the under there. So let's do this draft right now.
All right, we're gonna switch it up this week, and we're gonna do just the 3 Friday games, which is called the College Football Prime Time Palooza, $5 entry.
You ready for this?
Are you ready?
1, 2, and 3.
Enter.
Oh, did we get in the same one?
Draft start soon?
Yep. Drafting starts soon.
Look at that. So there's only...
Oh, it started right now. 50.
Oh, perfect. Good timing. So there's only 4 people in this. So you have the second pick. I have the third pick. A lot of quarterbacks up top here. There's only 4... I don't know. I'm fine. I'm fine waiting on quarterback because there's only 4 quarterbacks that are going to be drafted. So there's Gabriel McCord Hoover, and you could go all the way down to HMJ Haj Malik Williams, who balled out last week. I think the approach would be to go running back or receiver in the first round. What do you think?
I don't know. If you have your eye on a certain quarterback, that might be the play.
Well, the question is, like, do any of those top quarterbacks, are they going to just completely score a lot more points than Haj Malik Williams?
Maybe Josh Hoover puts up huge numbers. It's possible.
Yeah,
Hoover's had games. What was it? That Texas Tech game last year? He threw for like 500 yards. So it's like, that's one that's possible. Kyle Honda McCord, you never know, but I mean, I like Haj Malik Williams. I didn't, if you listen to us over in the FCS college football experience for years, we've been hyping him at Campbell. He's a good quarterback. And I didn't think that that UNLV would drop off with him. The offense changed a little bit, but okay. So
you were on the clock. Jordan James
right.
went first. So apparently the guy with number 1 pick was thinking along the same lines as myself. Here's your chance. You can go quarterback. No, you go with Jack Beck.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
go.
You know who had a really good game with Haj Malik Williams?
Who's that?
He's back. Ricky White. He was not playing the same football with Saluka, who can't pass the ball.
Which is why he tweeted saying, "Good, get out of here."
Now we're back. Shit. I was planning on not taking a quarterback so soon, but I don't see the. Oh, you know what? You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna go tight end. I'm gonna go Rondé Gadsden.
Dog. Yeah. Oh, I'm on the clock just like that.
All the quarterbacks are still out there.
Yeah. So I will go with Josh Hoover. I mean, Houston's offense doesn't move the ball, so he's going to have so many possessions. It's like the Houston's offense is a walking 3 and out.
Not a good slate for running backs.
Yeah.
Dylan Gabriel goes. Pena, the Syracuse receiver, goes. Do you go Cam Cook here?
That's a good one. Yeah, I think I might, just because I don't really like a lot of the other running backs here. So Yeah, let's do that. Stay with this TCU offense.
I would have went with him. I'm going to go with TCU also. The Eric McAllister. Don't look out now. McAllister is starting to make some noise. 2 straight games over 100 yards. Slow start to the season. I'm talking about the Boise State transfer. I like Eric McAllister here.
Yeah, and you saw my John Paul Richardson play still hit though last week. Yeah, he had a 90-yard punt return for a touchdown.
That's right.
Yeah.
All right, here's where I'm just going to go ahead and lock up Hajj Malik Williams. I'm going to take him over McCord actually. So I got that UCLA, not UCLA, UNLV stack.
Why am I drawing a blank on the? Okay, I think I got it now. Taking a shot, going off the beaten path there with Stephon Johnson. He gets a shit ton of targets on a shitty offense, but sometimes there's value in them there hills.
So I need a running back here, and if you look at running backs, there ain't much out there. I think what I'm going to do is go Lynch Adams, Michigan State. I just believe in him as a player. Obviously, it's not a great matchup at Oregon. He's got the timeshare with Nate Carter, but there ain't much out there at running back.
Yeah. Once again, Underdog Fantasy, folks. Promo code TCE SGPN is my pick. Oh shit. See, this is the risk on this. I'm going to take a shot on. Let's go with Jack Velling.
In the same group as us is John Boy Beats. Isn't he a former SGP guy?
I believe so. Yes, you are correct. I think that could. Yeah.
What are the odds?
There we go. And I should note that Joseph Manjack is questionable if you're going to play him, the Houston wide receiver, the former USC Trojan.
I'm not. I'm going to go with the Syracuse guy here. Now, give me Umari Hatcher. No, actually, I like Meeks better. Meeks just went 10 for 161.
Now it jumps back to me. And I actually think I'm going to go with my guy, JP Richardson. I just think
he's a playmaker.
Yeah. Let's go. And I think I got my whole team right there set. That I'm counting heavy in that TCU Houston game.
I'm counting heavy on the UNLV Syracuse game.
There
all right,
we go.
My projection is the lowest. That makes me feel good. All right.
I'm at 84.9. I'm destroying you on these projections. All right, folks, but get on over to Underdog Fantasy and use that promo code TCE SGPN. You can get stuff like that, but also just they have the higher lowers on the stat totals. Shout out to Jordan. Did y'all give out an Underdog lineup for Thursday yet? We just did, or for that was for Friday though.
Thursday they don't even have one of those drafts yet.
Yeah.
Or I don't think they will have it for this week.
But we did it for DFS, Jordan.
Yes.
So if you want to go check that out, that is all available there. All right, let's talk Friday DFS.
We're going to mention a lot of players we just did. With the one addition is that DraftKings also includes Jacksonville State, Kennesaw State. Thankfully.
Yeah, I need to get that FCS game in there though. All right.
Yeah.
It's still good. It's a good Friday slate. Speaking of that Jacksonville Kennesaw game, I've been high on this guy. I was a bit perplexed that he transferred to Jacksonville State because I thought he would be fitting elsewhere, but I think he's a very good quarterback. See, I gotta just continue to highlight this. How many quarterbacks have we seen from the FCS look just fantastic? Whether it's Cam Ward, whether it's Shador Sanders, whether it's Matthew Saluka was looking good on the ground. We don't need him. Hajj Malik Williams steps in, balling out. All FCS transfers. Well, same with Jacksonville State. They were trying to figure out who they needed at quarterback. They were starting the wrong guy for a couple weeks. Tyler Huff, the Furman transfer. I remember NC Nick was at a bar last year for the FCS playoffs. Furman was playing at Montana in a classic, like it was a fantastic football game. And Tyler Huff was balling out for Furman on the road there.
I'm glad you remember that because I don't think I do. But of course, if I was at a bar, that might be why.
Yeah, you were texting me. This Furman Montana game's great. Having I think I texted you back and I was like, hey, how you doing, man? He's like, I'm 6 Harvey Wallbangers deep.
That's my drink.
Tyler Huff, though, at 7,100 is the play because
I love the play because I'm not a fan. Well, I shouldn't say I'm not a fan. I think the really expensive quarterbacks are overpriced. Dylan Gabriel, it should not be 9.7K. He has not crushed it from a fantasy perspective this year. And
he's been like knocked out of like half of the last 15 games he's played with that abrupt slide bullshit.
And Hoover and McCord are 9.1 and 9K, which they're fine quarterbacks. They've been pretty good, but not at that price. If I can get guys for less. So play the music, because I went Tyler Huff also. In the 3 games he started, he has had 29 fantasy points per game, which puts him above any of those guys that were more expensive.
Let's go. I don't understand. Like, this guy should have been like, when I look around college football, he went to Jacksonville State, which I don't think his game really necessarily fit Jacksonville State, but I was like, he just wants to go to the FBS, take a shot at it. Sure. He's been at Furman for years, but I'm still dumbfounded that like more teams don't look that way. He's good. He's been starting for like 5 fucking years. So it's like,
well, with like, more and more of these guys having success,
yeah,
they probably will start looking.
I don't know why. Like, it's mind numbing.
You know who hasn't really worked out? Those what's his name, Brosmer from Minnesota.
That might be a Minnesota offense thing, because look at Manis or whatever. Like, not gonna work here anymore.
I know who you're talking about.
But he's looked a lot better at Rutgers.
He's looked a little bit better.
No, he's way more efficient, dude, as a passer. He's way more efficient as a passer.
Like, it's true. But no, I'm right there with you with Huff. Who's your second quarterback?
My second quarterback is Haj Malik Williams. Stay FCS quarterbacks here. Subscribe to the FCS college football experience.
Play the music. HMW just tossed 3 touchdowns and ran for 120 and another touchdown last week.
He's a dog. Let's go. And last time I checked, Syracuse pass defense.
Agreed.
Yeah.
It seemed like Stanford threw the ball in the air pretty well with Ashton Daniels 2 weeks ago. Running backs, I only have 2 again.
I only have 2.
Do you have 7.5K Jordan James for the Ducks?
I do.
Play the music.
I'll raise you one higher. Do you have Trey Stewart for Jacksonville State?
I do. Play the music.
Good God. We have the same roster. Four players in.
All I know is that Tennessee Martin's Patrick Smith, their running back, just ran for $120 and 2 touchdowns versus Kennesaw. So I expect Jacksonville State to get busy on the ground.
Yeah. Well, that's what Rich Rod does.
Yeah.
So, and he's out of Winston-Salem, buddy. I know you played that because he was a local guy there. Huh?
Exactly.
But he's being featured more and more. If you look at this first 2 games of the season, 4 carries in each game against Coastal and Louisville, then against Eastern Michigan, 17, then against Southern Miss, 16. So it's like they switched over to him. They found their guy moving forward. Makes sense to ride with them. Receiver wise, I'm terrified that we're going to have the same 4 wideouts too.
Well, my top guy, we just talked about him in Underdog. It was kind of quiet with Saluka, but last week 10 for 127 and 2 touchdowns for Ricky White III.
Got a roster. He was one of the best players in college football last season. We're gonna have the same team because
I know. You, of course I did. I know you're gonna have 2. He's crushing it, man.
We have the same team. This is amazing. We did not talk pre-episode,
especially because there's 4 games this time too. We still got 2 guys. Maybe there's some differences here because there's an Oregon Duck receiver, and I didn't know what direction to go here because I'm surprised Evan Stewart has been so quiet.
I went with Evan Stewart.
I went with Trayshawn Holden.
Ah, okay, yeah. Evan Stewart had a big game against Boise. They haven't really played much since then. I expect them to have a big game against Michigan State, nationally televised game.
I think Stewart's the better receiver, but
I think he's
Holden's been more consistent though. So I didn't know. I mean, they're only $100 apart. So obviously I could have went either one, but hey, there's our side bet.
There it is.
I don't love the side bet because if Stewart plays up to his ability, he might crush it, but he's been quiet so far this season. So anyway, Holden versus Stewart.
Yep. Let's go. And then Stephon Johnson's my final guy for Houston at 3,800. The amount of balls he gets thrown his way with that shitty offense. Did you have Stephon Johnson?
No, so we might have a second side bet. I went with Jackson Meeks for Syracuse, a guy that just had 10 for 161 and a touchdown against Holy Cross. And that's two straight games with touchdowns. He's emerging as another threat for Syracuse. I'll go with the better offense with Syracuse and go Jackson Meeks.
Going up against the defense, though. Barry Odom known for his defense. All right, let's go.
Who's your guy? What's his name?
Stephon Johnson.
Johnson versus Meeks.
Yeah, let's go. All right. Well, that's our lineup. We almost had the same damn lineup.
Glad we had some differences in the end there, but overall with the lineup, I like going with the cheaper quarterbacks here.
Yeah, I agree. And I came in thinking I was going to take Hoover. So
yeah,
just goes to show, folks. Before we get to both Saturday slates, I want to tell you that the college football experience is brought to you by Rhythm. SGPN's proud partner Rhythm is the #1 AI-powered sports betting platform that helps provide bettors of all levels the ability to build custom predictive betting models in seconds and get predictions for betting on money lines, spreads, totals, props. You can build your own model. That's what I would do, and then Rhythm will adjust around that. Or you can copy one of the top performing models from the leaderboard. Rhythm gives you predictions for betting on every game and player prop. It has a slew of stats, research, trend analysis to give you even more betting insight. I like Sam Houston at that. Even though UTEP's riding that Mountain West energy, right? I think Sam Houston's going to go in there and get that dub at the Sun Bowl. So what are you doing? Claim your free 7-day trial period today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. We're also brought to you by BetUS. Bet with the best in the business. Yes, BetUS has been around for more than 30 years. You can easily deposit using cryptocurrency and get lightning fast payouts. I like the Qs plus the 7 at that filthy dome there in Vegas. Allegiant, that it should be Sam Boyd. All right, but anyway, use our link to sign up and get 125% deposit bonus on your first 3 deposits. Go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/betus. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/betus. Promo code SGPN so they know that we sent you. BetUS, America's favorite sports book. All right, Saturday,
the main slate.
This was probably my favorite slate. I think
I like both of the Saturday slates. Not gonna lie.
I'm riding. I took a little bit of a gamble, but I think it will pay off. At the
Milrow.
I did have Milrow.
Oh,
yes. I didn't plan on having Milrow. He's arguably the most exciting player in college football.
10.4K.
I had that left over when I got to my final spot, and I go, oh.
Did you roster him and the quarterback he'll be competing against?
Diego
Pissing Pavia?
I did not. I thought about
it. Come on.
What's his price? Actually?
He's cheap. He's like 6-point-something K.
Yeah, I didn't have that money because I saw another diamond in the rough out there.
So you went with a cheaper quarterback, huh?
Can you take a guess who that is?
I would say Hank Bachmeier. You love Bachmeier.
NC State's defense, Tony Gibson's normally pretty good.
Marcel Reed?
I went with Braden Locke against a horrible Purdue team.
Okay, but Raiola didn't do much last week, though, against Purdue.
This is on the road, though, buddy.
True.
This is not in West Lafayette. They got to come in there. And Locke looked all right against USC. So I actually think the floodgates will open. I think Purdue is the worst team in the Power 5. Them or Mississippi State or Houston, I guess. Those are the 3 battling. Maybe throw Wake in there. But I think at 5,400, I think he's gonna have a solid outing.
Well, look, if you spend up 10.4K on one quarterback, then you got to go cheap with the other. So I don't mind the approach. I think it's worth a gamble against such a bad team in Purdue. Purdue struggling more stopping the run than the pass, but still, he should be able to have a decent game. My approach with quarterback was to go pretty cheap again. I focused on one game specifically, and that is Southern Miss Louisville. One of the top 3 games has the highest total, that along with Pitt, UNC, and West Virginia, Oklahoma State. But I rostered both Tyler Shuck for 7K, and I went Kevin Jennings for even cheaper, 6.2K.
SMU. You said Southern Miss.
I'm sorry, SMU.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I was
the other
confused.
SMU. Sorry,
I was like,
that.
You're taking Southern Miss as quarterback?
No. Southern Miss is not on the slate, and I think Brett Favre is the last quarterback you might want to take for Southern Miss.
well, I don't get the rain man cold, but
most quarterbacks when they get to Hattiesburg.
I'm dying in this fucking country ass fucked up town. Shit flying in my mouth.
Can you even name another decent quarterback for Southern Miss?
You know, for when Fedora was there, they had a QB, Arnold, I think his name was. Last name was Arnold that could move the ball.
Drawing a blank on him. I can't think of another decent quarterback.
But you know, because remember they fired Nick Mullins. There we go.
Good call.
When they unjustly fired our guy. Why am I drawing a blank on the coach that was a beast from the 90s all the way to
I haven't thought about him in a while.
Jeff. I can't remember his last name right now.
We're struggling here.
It's early in the morning. I haven't even had a fucking cup of coffee yet. Jeff Bauer. That's what it was. Jeff Bauer. And they fired Jeff Bauer unjustly. And this is one of those, they wanted to go like, because Bauer was a defensive team run first. Like they didn't really, even though he had Favre, they weren't known for their passing. And, they wanted to go. This is like Wisconsin. It's almost like exactly like Wisconsin, where they're like, no, we want to have a high powered offense, right? Let's go get Larry Fedora, right? And they went and got Larry Fedora, and they now to Larry's credit, they did make bowl games.
He actually coached pretty well there. He was worse at UNC, and he was worse in the USFL after that.
yeah, but still, like they still didn't.
Where is Fedora now? Is he a coordinator somewhere?
I want to say I heard him say that he's just going to retire and go live on his ranch. I think he has a ranch in Waco, like outside of Waco.
That seems questionable.
Yeah. So, yeah. Well, anything that happens in Waco outside of the university seems very questionable, right? What's really going on there, Larry?
I mean, if you look at his wiki page, the last job he had was New Orleans Breakers. Breaker.
Well, I don't know that does good things for your resume. Look,
he was pretty shitty.
Did you catch me in New Orleans with the Breakers? Who? What are you talking about?
All right, running backs.
I like my running backs, buddy.
I got 3 here.
I got 3 as well, and I'm going to start with the former Western Carolina Catamount, Desmond Reed.
You know we're both big fans, especially in this matchup. We just saw what Duke Star Thomas did against UNC's pitiful run defense. Reed was kind of banged up in the West Virginia game. He got banged up, or no, the game after that. So he sat out the FBS game and coming off a bye. I think he's fully healthy now. I think he's about to run wild on the Tar Heels.
Oh yeah, Youngstown State. That was the game.
That's okay.
And then so you went 3 backs as well.
Yeah, my second guy, and I mean I know he's been good, but last week he just solidified that he's a freaking baller, and that's Bayshell Tootin, the Hokies running back, 7.6.
Another FCS guy, buddy.
Yeah,
another FCS guy. I did not roster him, but I'll raise you one higher. Did you see what Micah Ford did in the same game?
Okay.
You seen this freshman Micah Ford out of Toms River, New Jersey, at Stanford?
I think
you see what he did against a good rush defense in Clemson.
Yeah. Okay.
15 rushes, 122 yards, and guess what? Ashton Daniels is questionable. I think they're going to lean on the rushing attack with Micah Ford. We'll see if Daniels starts. You know, even with that, I wonder how many times they throw it.
What's Ford's price?
Ford is 4,100.
Ooh, okay. No, I like the play, and especially as a salary saver option, that makes a lot of sense. But my last running back is only 4.3K, and I'm assuming that Louisville's Maurice Turner is not going to play again. That's what you have to monitor. But Isaac Brown came out of nowhere last week. What did he do against Notre Dame?
Oh yeah, dog.
13 for 72, four catches, 23
and that's
yards.
Against their rush defense.
Right.
Notre Dame's rush defense is legit.
So I see why you spent up at quarterback on Milroe so much, because you have 2 very cheap running back options, and those guys could be good. So I like the play.
Well, I got a super cheap wideout too.
I have one too in one of those games I'm targeting.
exactly. Let's stay right there because
Yeah.
this guy was a beast at South Alabama. He transfers into Louisville. He had broke his collarbone or something in July, I feel like. So he missed the first couple games. He comes back last week. Colin Lacey, 70, I think it was 7 for 70 or something like that.
5 for 71 in his first game back. He was expected to be the wide receiver number 1 until he got hurt.
He was a fucking beast at South Alabama.
Right. DraftKings is sleeping on him big time. If you're not taking Lacey at 3.4K, I don't know what you're doing.
And guess what? I stacked him with Ja'Cory Brooks, the former Alabama Crimson Tide.
But you didn't have enough money for Shuck. You didn't do the double stack, huh?
I didn't. I mean, I could have if I got rid of Milroe, but Milroe runs the ball so much. I just feel like you got to do that. Ja'Cory Brooks. And remember, I locked up Louisville minus the points against SMU.
That's right.
So, that's my angle. I'm down to just 2 players, just like that. So I feel like you got to catch up.
I like it. I don't have too much catching up to do. I only have 2 guys left. Also, I'm going to go Milroe's favorite target, Ryan Williams, the true freshman, 7.3K for Bama.
That's my guy as well. Actually, that's my whole team.
I got one more guy, and this is kind of a mid-tier receiver. He's actually a tight end here, but he's Tyler Warren for Penn State, one of the best tight ends in the nation. He even had a rushing touchdown on 2 carries last week. So they get him the ball in a variety of ways. I like to squeeze in a tight end where I can here. So 5.6K, Tyler Warren against UCLA and that shitty ass team. That rounds out my lineup.
I like it. I like it. I had a lot of fun with this lineup, to tell you the truth. Like, I think
is UCLA, do they belong in the worst of the Power 4 discussion?
That LSU game kind of impressed me. So I think they covered against Oregon. So I'm like, I think they're a step up.
Yeah, I think you're right. Fair enough.
Like Mississippi State's been embarrassing. Purdue giving up 60 or what was it, 65 points or something to Notre Dame's offense.
Right.
I like UCLA's actually. Coming into the season, I thought it was going to be UCLA, but I actually think UCLA is a tier above.
They're playing hard for him. They're playing hard for him.
UCLA or Wake Forest.
Wake isn't too far from that discussion either. That's a good question. I think Wake's offense is better, but UCLA probably has better defense.
Yeah.
That's a toss-up, man. I guess UCLA -3 in that game.
So if we had to do our Power 5 rankings of schools, the very last would it be Mississippi State or Purdue?
Mississippi State got beat by Toledo, like 31-0 or something? Wasn't that crazy?
I think they ended up scoring some garbage points. But it was like I mean, Mississippi State was down 30 points, I think, at one point in that game.
I mean, Houston hasn't scored a touchdown or
that's what I'm saying.
Even a field goal in a few weeks, but they
almost beat Oklahoma. They almost beat Oklahoma, so it's like that might be enough to.
I think Houston's probably better than those teams.
That's what I'm thinking too.
I think the worst 2 are Purdue and Mississippi State, right?
And then Houston would be 3rd worst. Then you have the Wake Forest UCLA conversation.
I think Houston's in the same boat as Wake and UCLA.
Those are the bottom 5, though, right? Like, I think we just nailed the bottom 5. There's no one else in the ACC that sucks, right?
I think you're right. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's.
Look at that. Okay. All right. Night slate.
There we go. I actually thought this was the most difficult one out of all 4 slates.
I liked it. I mean, you have less options. I think there's 7 games in the night slate compared to like 13 in the main slate. So if you don't like a couple of the top guys, then you might struggle to put your lineup together. But I'm good with this. Let's go.
Shout out to Never Graduate. It says Harvard line went from Harvard +4 to Harvard -2.5 since the pick show. That's FCS lines too. I don't think people realize. And I heard Brad Powers talking about this the other day. He's like, you watch, all it takes is like 4 bets on one team and like a FCS line, because not that many people bet it. It'll go drastically. It'll jump, a large amount, not like
you see it in college basketball too, especially if there's like a American East game or something.
Yeah,
and you get one decent sized bet and woof.
Yeah. So jump on over there, get those sharp lines, folks. I went with 2 quarterbacks. You?
I did too. Yep. And again, I think the top guys, I'm not spending up big time. I spent up more on quarterback in this slate, but I'm not going after Nico Ocho or KJ Jefferson, both over 9K. Too expensive, both on the road. I'll go elsewhere.
Well, I'm going to be in Tempe, Arizona. All right. As a guest of the University of Arizona State. So I might have to just, make sure after the game at the Talking Stick Casino, we say, hey, Mr. Levitt, come on over here. Let me buy you a few cocktails after you dominate. So for $8,200, the former Michigan State Spartan, Sam Levitt. Did you roster him?
I did not. I don't mind the play. I like Levitt. Good rusher, as well as he can throw the rock a little bit too. But my top guy was welcome to the club. Cade Klubnik's been crushing it. Why is he still underpriced at 8.6K?
Are you concerned about game script?
Well, I mean, he's still
Clemson's got a history of beating the shit out of Florida State and Tallahassee.
Well, they've been beating the shit out of everybody other than Georgia this year, and Klubnik still averages 30 fantasy points per game. So, no, I'm not too concerned.
What's his price?
8.6.
Yeah, I don't have it. I don't have. I could do 8.5. That's the most I could do.
Well, who's your second quarterback?
My second quarterback. I'm taking you to Atlanta.
Same here.
Haynes King. Yeah, look, Duke's got this. This is a great spot. You know, I locked up Georgia Tech -7. I know you're a Duke fan. You don't want to talk about it, but
I agree that it's a nice spot for Georgia Tech, and you might want to roster, him or maybe Haynes or one of the receivers also.
Yeah. So Haynes King, I just like the spot. I think Georgia Tech is one of my favorite wagers of the weekend. So
the music, I was about to go. I was about to say let's do a side bet between him and Levitt, but
yeah. Now I did pay up for a running back. I wanted a certain running back.
I got 2 running backs in the 7,000 range.
No, I have one at 8, one at 6, one at 4.
All right, we're all over the place. Who's your top guy?
Let me talk to Samson. Fly me to the moon. What did he say? Like Peter Frampton or something? I don't know. What did he rhyme that with? Shout out to Dave Chappelle, the greatest. But Arkansas's run defense not necessarily setting the world on fire. Dylan Sampson, look, this is Nico's second road game, and if you look, didn't necessarily light it up passing in Norman. Now, to be fair, Oklahoma's defense a lot better than Arkansas's. And to be fair, our guy, shout out to Marcus Trammell. He keeps letting me know. Sent me a text over the night saying you're sleeping on Nico in this passing attack and these vols. But I like Dylan. Let me talk to Sampson at 8,900. I do buy into them being able to move the ball, but I do think Arkansas is going to be able to move the ball more than people think on that vol defense. So 8,900.
He's a beast.
Yeah.
He's expensive though for a reason. Arkansas's run defense hasn't been that bad. Currently ranked 21st in the nation, 93 points per game they've allowed. I think Sampson's going to have a fine day and do well. I don't think it's quite the plus matchup though on the road that you might think it is. I didn't spend that much. My top guy is 7.6K. I'll go Minnesota's Darius Taylor, who just dropped 30 fantasy points on Michigan. Now they got USC coming home. USC a little soft still. I know they're not quite as soft as they were last year, but I think they still struggle to defend the run. So I like Darius Taylor.
How much was he?
7.6.
No, we can't battle then. All right. Well, my second running back, I'm going back to Tempe. No, it's not my guy Cam Scadaboo, another FCS legend. It's Devin Neal for Kansas at 6.9K. He's a beast. I don't know that Arizona State's. I was going back the other day and watching the Texas State game. Not sold on Arizona State's run defense. I think Lance Leipold might be able to exploit that.
I like it. He's solid, man. He's just rock solid. He's gonna, be worth that dollar amount. But maybe this is our side bet because my second guy is 7.1K, only 200 difference. I'll go Kalel Mullings for Michigan, another guy that ran through that USC defense pretty well. If you look at the last 3 games, he's put up between 26 and 32 fantasy points. Yes, this is now Michigan on the road for the first time
against Steve Belichick.
Kyle Monaghan
right?
just
what does he do?
Just slice through that Belichick defense. And
what does Steve Belichick do? He's like.
Side bet Mullings versus Neal.
Yeah, give me that all day.
Bring it on.
It was hilarious because we were gonna be tailgating at Tempe. We moved our tailgate to a local bar because of this crazy heat wave. I was prepared. I just thought it's Arizona. Me and Green, we're talking about this, and we're like, yeah, we're gonna tailgate. It's Arizona. It's always hot. But we had 4 different people that live in Arizona tell us it's 110. It's 110.
I don't want to tailgate in 110. No, thank
Yeah, you don't. So we decided that they might know the Arizona climate better than us.
Right.
So
Smart move.
we have moved our tailgate to a bar. I say that because, well, no, I have one more, but because Devin Neal, that might be the downside of my play. If I lose that prop, it's Devin Neal's exhausted because it's hot as fuck, and they probably use a slew of running backs just off of that. But I think he'll be ready
by kickoff. Is it going to be a little bit cooler?
I mean, I imagine, but still, it's apparently it's a big heat wave coming in through southern Arizona.
Who's your last running back?
Look, wish upon a star. All right,
play the music. I figured
my guy, former Jerry Kill running back in New Mexico State, Star Thomas, 4,700. That's disrespectful. He's a dog. All right, him and pissing Pavia would ruin SEC teams' dreams. It was fantastic.
He's done well the last 3 weeks. Now, I will say Georgia Tech's run defense is better than anybody they've played the last 3 weeks. But at that price, under 5K, I think a nice little salary saver in Star Thomas. So, yeah, that's why I rostered him as well.
So let's jump over to the wide receiver spot. I'm going to stay in that same game since we're talking about it. He's been a beast over the years, or maybe last season, because I think he's a sophomore. He hasn't had that much production this year, but I think this is a get right spot. Eric Singleton, the wide receiver for Georgia Tech. Did you roster him? He's 4,800.
No, I did not. I like the play though, especially with Haynes King. Might as well stack up a receiver. I think with Haynes King, you don't have to play a stack though, because he's going to get you those rushing yards. But I know you're high on Georgia Tech, so it makes sense to roster a couple Yellow Jackets.
That was my second highest price receiver. I do have one more guy more expensive.
My most expensive guy is 6K.
Mine's 5,400.
All right. Well, I'm going Luke Grimm, the Kansas Jayhawks, going back to Tempe where you're at. Dude,
I had him in my lineup and I took him out.
He's been crushing it of late. I mean,
touchdowns
in 4 of 5 games. He's even running the ball some. What do you have? 3 attempts for 55 yards and a touchdown against West Virginia a couple weeks ago. He's emerged as their top receiver, and they're finding a variety of ways to get him the ball. So give me Luke Grimm at 6K.
He's the son of Russ Grimm, right? We're just gonna say that because we have Luke Lachey. We have Luke Lachey at Iowa, right? Is there a Jacoby out there? We need a Jacoby. Let's get all the former Hogs from the Washington Redskins. I like that play. I tried to do it. I just didn't have that money, but I did have. I think you should consider this guy Elijah Badger, because if Graham Mertz plays or if it's Lagway, the freshman, UCF's pass defense is fucking horrible. So I think at 5,400, Elijah Badger is a smart play for this lineup.
I have a guy for 5,300, which I think we both rostered last week, and that's Jaden Higgins for Iowa State.
I smell a battle.
And he went 8 for 79 and a touchdown. Higgins versus Badger.
Let's go. Right. Battle of Bourbon. All right, I'm gonna get you a Buffalo Trace or something, huh? What's you like Buffalo Trace, right? Of
course I do. That'll work.
Yeah. But I have one guy left, and I didn't have a lot of money.
Me neither.
So I went with Shaman Mateer, the tight end for Arizona State, who's actually pretty damn close to being the top receiver on the team. 3,300, 11 catches on the season. Their leader Jordan Tyson has 14. That's what I'm saying. So he is the target for Sam Levitt there, and I'm gonna be out in Tempe. I'm gonna be rooting him on. So that was my angle.
We got another side bet if you want, because my last guy is $100 cheaper. I was looking down. I didn't have any money left, and looking down, I was like, you know what? He's boom or bust, but I'll go Brew McCoy for Tennessee for 3.2K. 4 for 92 against Oklahoma. 6 for 89. And
No, I think you just convinced me.
I think his ceiling is a lot higher. I think you got to go Brew McCoy if you're looking for someone.
Former 5-star that wait,
range.
why do I not see him there though?
3.2K.
Oh, 3.2. Damn. Okay.
Cheaper than your guy.
Yeah. How's that even possible?
I don't know why.
How did I miss that? Where are you at, Brew McCoy? Former 5-star wideout, played at Texas, played at USC, transferred to. This is the way these days.
He's had a couple of very quiet games this year too, but he does have that high ceiling.
Well, I just think Arkansas's defense too is a little iffy.
Yeah,
I'm going to listen to Marcus. Shout out to our friend.
And you're going to listen to me, and you're going to
Yeah.
roster Brew McCoy.
Yeah, exactly. All right, we already have our battle of bourbons, so let's go, folks. That's our show. Give NC Nick a follow on Twitter at NC__NICK. We're going to invite you to come play DFS with us. Just a couple bucks, just some shit talking rights. Please though, if you can, remember, speaking of a couple bucks, and feel free to miss out on it and help out. Go over to mountainprojects.org and hit flood support and help out all of our sisters and brothers that are out there in Western North Carolina that got hit and affected by Hurricane Helene. Please, if you can, jump over there and do that. I'm on Twitter at TheColbyD. The College Football Experience is on Twitter at TCE on SGPN. Make sure I got I got a show with CJ Sullivan, the Bet Detective, coming in a few hours here. The Bottom Line Bombs. We call it the Bombs Down Under, where we talk about live money line dogs on the Week 6 college football slate. And then later tonight, myself, Ryan McIntyre, it's bracketology as we a lot of shifting our brackets. Well, for me, not for him. Got to give him a little bit of credit. Now it's obviously a lot of season left, but since week 0, he's had Alabama as his national champion after they beat down the Georgia Bulldogs. Maybe he's on to something there. I have to reroute my bracket because the Bulldogs I had taken down bringing it home, bringing the trophy home. So check out all those. The FCS College Football Experience is also a show I do that will be happening tomorrow. Talking about week 6 there, some big time games, some big time matchups I'm super excited about. Check out all of those. The College Basketball Experience. We just did our ACC basketball preview. A bunch of conference previews are out. I believe we're doing the SEC tomorrow night as well. So go check out that. Check out the College Baseball Experience too, with the season right around the corner. And the Stadium Heads podcast, where we talk about the history of college football stadiums. Also check out the Sports Gambling Podcast and the Bottom Line Bombs. All right. And the CFL Gambling Podcast. The road to the 111th Grey Cup is happening right now, folks. So check out all those. Till next time, this is an MLB Gambling Podcast, NHL Gambling Podcast, or Hockey Gambling Podcast. That's what we call it. But check out the MLB Gambling Podcast and the Hockey Gambling Podcast as those seasons revving up as well. Till next time, this is the College Football Experience, DFS and Underdog fantasy style. You better start thinking about yours. And we out of here.
Run and shoot. We can really run and shoot. And the whole team's looking and the whole world's looking with the gamblers. Run and shoot.